Hi, welcome back to Paul's Stuff. This is my space on YouTube where I get to share all the things I love. Lots of Star Wars, lots of lightsabers, and unashamedly today is another lightsaber review. So you may have seen fairly recently I got the Darth Maul Season 7 of the Clone Wars animated series lightsaber from Padawan Outpost. It's the staff at the bottom here behind me. Lovely lightsaber, highly recommend it. One of the newer sort of LGT sabers that have come out recently. And I thought he duels with Ahsoka Tano. One of the climactic episodes of Season 7 of the Clone Wars. And I thought, what better than to get a set of Ahsoka's lightsabers as well to go with that. So I bought the AT0.5 and AT1 bundle from Padawan Outpost again. Great little set of lightsabers. These are, as we said, Ahsoka's lightsabers from Season 1 of the Clone Wars. Nicely detailed. Great finish on them, although they are fingerprint magnets, as you can imagine. This chrome finish is just prone to that. They're a lovely pair of lightsabers. Early on in the Clone Wars, Ahsoka Tano just has her standard lightsaber blade. But fairly early on, Season 3, I think, of the Clone Wars, she also has a shorter lightsaber blade. It's known as a Shoto. And so she ends up with two lightsabers, which is unusual for a Jedi. Also a little bit unusual for a Jedi. These are different colours for most of the Clone Wars. We'll talk about the colours as we go through the sound fonts and things, but because they do change colour as well, which is again unusual. We'll start looking first of all at the Shoto. This is the smaller of the blades. So I have Saber Armory's simple blade plugs in these. They have lit emitters, so there's no need for to particularly use Xenopixel blade plugs. These are just standard blade plugs. This one has been cut down so it sits flush with the emitter. Now, these come with 1-inch blades as standard. I believe the standard length blade that comes with this set is 36 inches. But I asked Padawan Outpost if they could supply this with a 32-inch blade for the longer lightsaber, and with this 28-inch blade for the Shoto. So that I've got the longer and shorter blade, but I've also got slightly shorter than the standard blades, and they were very happy to do that. We'll pop the blade in here. And take a look at Ahsoka Tano's Shoto blade. So here we go. So this first sound font is Kyberphonics, is from Howes Kybers. This is their Ahsoka Tano yellowish green blade, I believe. Greenish yellow sound font. Really nice sound font. Comes with some soundtracks and some quotes. All the usual blaster effect, lock-up effect, tip drag, quotes.
I'm Ahsoka, Master Yoda sent me. This is another fine mess we've gotten us into.
And of course, these are Xenopixel, so they have gesture control as well. So really nice sound font from Kyberphonics. To go with it, I've put a custom colour on here. Now, when Ahsoka first gets this Shoto, it's a slightly different colour to a normal saber. A normal saber is green. This one's a more yellowy green, hence the greenish yellow name for this sound font. And I came up with a custom colour for this. So if you go into your SD card, you have a line on your config file which dictates the colour. It's 3 figures with commas in between in brackets. They represent the red, green and blue spectrums of your lightsaber, and this one is set up for 1552550 if you're interested in getting this particular colour that I've got here. I'll show you them both together. So this is the standard blade I'm putting in now. This is a 32-inch blade. Same blade plug, simple blade plug from Saber Armory. These have 2 retention screws, one on either side of the saber. They're both the same. If there are 2 screws that are directly opposite each other, I always only use 1 screw. If you use both, you can create a little fulcrum that the blade can tip on. So here we have the standard blade colour and the Shoto. Hopefully you can see there might be a little bit of difference in the colour between these. Looking at them in real life, the Shoto is very much more yellow. If you can see those. So this standard blade, this first font is another Howes Kybers font. This is their Ahsoka Tano green font. Very similar to the greenish yellow. Again, the blaster blocks, tip drag, lock up, and quotes.
The council didn't trust me.
There are different quotes on here. Another nice sound font. Now, one thing you do need to be aware of, if you buy a Xenopixel version of these and you change the blade lengths, you will need to alter the blade length in the config file. So there's a line in there that relates to the blade length. I believe it's done on pixel count. For a 28-inch blade, you need to put in 99. And for a 32-inch blade, you need to put in 114. I believe the standard 36-inch one is 132. So if you don't do that, particularly on the Shoto where it's a shorter blade, you won't see the tip drag because it will think that the end of the saber is further out. You'll think it's a longer blade. The rest of the fonts on these 2 are the same on both sabers. So I'll show you on the Shoto because it's a shorter blade. Now, when Ahsoka comes back in Series 7, Season 7 of the Clone Wars, Anakin Skywalker has tinkered with her lightsabers. He took them when she left the Jedi Order and looked after them. He's played with them in between. So when she comes back, he gives them back to her. When she's going to go and try and capture Darth Maul, and the colours have changed to blue. So the next two fonts on here are blue bladed fonts. So this first one is Commander Tano from Kyberphonics. Another nice round font, blaster blocks, tip drags, lock up, and again we have quotes. These are all.
Lady Bo-Katan and I have located the renegade Sith Lord Maul.
These are all Season 7 quotes. So these being Xenopixel sabers as well, they have gesture controls on them. I only have twist on, twist off activated. You can have swing on and also stab on and stab off. I prefer just to have the swing on. Last font on these pair is from Howes Kybers again, and this is their Ahsoka Tano blue.
Ahsoka.
I have changed the font announcement on this. This is Howes Kybers sound font Ahsoka Tano blue. Blaster blocks. Tip drag. Lock up. And quotes.
I did my duty as a citizen. You're lucky Anakin didn't show up. The way you're fighting, you wouldn't have lost him all.
Between those three fonts, there were several music tracks. I've put together 4 of them, and they're on each of these fonts. I'm not going to play the music tracks. I don't want to get a copyright strike. But there are music tracks on these as well. They basically play music from the Clone Wars. I'll just pop the blade plugs back in these. So, yeah, once again, it's a really nice set of sabers. You can buy them individually as well. So they're the this longer one is the AT1 and the shorter one is the AT0.5. Lovely pair of sabers. Once again from Padawan Outpost, one of my preferred places to buy sabers. And some lovely detail on these. The Shoto is quite plain. The main saber has a nice little control box on it. They both have these little pin details. Show you these. You can see it's picking up fingerprints like mad. One thing I did just want to cover was charging for these and also accessing the SD card and the battery. Charging on this one is really easy. You have a round charging port here. You just plug your charging lead in, plug it into a 5 volt USB charger and it will charge. So that's really easy. To get the battery and the SD card, you need to unscrew the pommel. You can see the core. This one has had a Smugglers Outpost 24mm Elite speaker put into it. I change them when I can. This one was easy enough to change. The ones that I'll show you with the other core, that has a USB charging port which is just above the speaker, and that reduces the amount of space. It's not as easy to change the speaker in those because there isn't enough space for the slightly deeper Smugglers Outpost speaker. Once you've taken the pommel off, there are two little screws at the back. The bottom one retains the core into the saber. The top one pushes the button up through the saber to where it needs to be. You take those out, push the button in, back into the core, and the core will just come out, and then you can access the battery and the SD card so that you can customize the saber. So fairly straightforward, fairly standard on this one. The Shoto is a little bit different, and I'll show you, I'll go through with you how you access the battery, the SD card and the charging port on this. Unfortunately, to charge this you do have to take the core out. So once again, we're going to unscrew the pommel. Then we're also going to unscrew the activation button. It doesn't look like it screws in and out, but it does. So there's the activation button that I've just unscrewed. And pop that in the pommel so I don't lose it. And then the only other screw that you have to remove is the screw in the middle of the Covertech wheel. That is retaining the core. So you'll see once I take this out, now the core just drops free. Nexus seem to be using this gold material now for their cores, which is very nice. You see here's the battery. I have put KeepPower 15 amp 3000 milliamp hour batteries in these. This is a custom battery wrap from Saber Armory. This is the new style of Xenopixel board with the SD card in the middle. To access the SD card, you just slide the metal cage back and the card will come out. And to put it back in, you place the card back in, slide the cage back over it. This one's a little bit finicky because they've put this sort of protective bar over the top of some of the board, and it gets in the way a little bit. I've also got SanDisk Ultra SD cards in these. It's another little upgrade I always do. Put a better quality SD card in. This has a charging port on the core, and it comes with a USB-C charging cable. There's a charging port just here. But that's what gets in the way of changing the speaker. It doesn't leave enough room for the slightly deeper Smugglers Outpost speakers I like to put in these. So this is a standard Nexus speaker in this one. Did notice that the speakers that are coming as standard in these now seem to be 5 watt. They used to be 3 watt. But they're now 5 watt rated speakers. So that's a little change that's also gone ahead. The only other mod to the core that I've done, my usual on both of these sabers, I put a piece of clear tape around the bottom end of the core, just to seal up the holes behind the speaker as much as possible. Doesn't do much, but it gives you maybe a little bit of improvement in the sound from these. So that's how you remove the core from the Shoto. I've seen other videos that suggest you have to take all sorts of other screws out. You don't. The only two that have to come out are the retention screw, which is the one that's in the CoverTech wheel, and you have to take out the button. Now, to put this back together, we're going to pop the core back in, and we're going to line the button up with the hole, and we'll screw the button back in. There's not much to get hold of, but you can screw that button in and out. Then we're going to look and line up the retention hole in the core with the CoverTech wheel screw hole, and we're going to pop that in a few turns, but we're not going to do it up completely. Next, we're going to seat the screw the pommel back in, and that's easier to do if there's a little bit of movement in the core. We'll do the pommel, and then we'll tighten up the CoverTech wheel screw fully. As with all of these sabers, there's no need to really wrench on the screws. Do them up so hand tight, they're fine. And that's the saber back together. So that's the AT0.5 and 1 bundle from Padawan Outpost, Ahsoka Tano's lightsabers from the Clone Wars animated series. So hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please consider giving it a like. It would also be great if you subscribe to the channel, and if you hit the notification bell, then you'll get notifications of when I put videos up online. Try to post them fairly regularly. So yeah, if you've enjoyed it, then please consider those things. And I hope to see you back here at Paul's Stuff again soon. Bye bye.